Hi, I'm Amanda Perna, and today I'm going to show you how to sew a mask at home. There are a few things that are really important that you want to have in your mask to make sure that it is protective for the person who's wearing it. I did go ahead and make a pattern to make it easy for you so you don't have to figure out the measurements on your own. You want to make sure you have a cotton fabric that is a high thread count. The reason for that is it's going to help with a tight weave to make sure that the wearer stays safe. You want to have a non-woven interfacing to put inside of it. 2 layers are best if you can do it. Then I use bias tape, pins, some sort of metal for in the nose, a measuring tape, scissors, an iron of some sort. I love this little tiny Cricut, but you could use any kind of iron, and of course your sewing machine. All right, let's get started. The first step is going to be to take your pattern and cut it out. Typically, I like to use 2 different scissors, one for paper, one for fabric, but today we're just gonna use one sharp one for both. So it's all cut out. I went ahead and cut out the interfacing so you didn't have to watch that happen, but I will show you how to cut it out on the actual fabric. So you're gonna lay your fabric out. You may want to give it a little press first if it looks like it's very wrinkled, but if it's not too bad, then go for it. You're gonna take pins. You can pin as much as you need to. I think 4, 1 in each corner is plenty to stabilize. So the pins are just gonna help you keep it so it doesn't shift while you're cutting. So here we're gonna put 4 pins in. Okay. Then you take your scissors and you're just gonna cut right around the outside of your pattern. And just in case you are curious, this pattern is 9 inches by 8 inches, but you don't have to measure it out because you can just use your little pattern. Okay, so we're gonna move the fabric that we don't need out of the way. And I cut 2 at one time so that way it's easy. So this is gonna give you the inside and the outside. Now if you wanted to use 2 different fabrics, you would wanna make sure that you cut them individually. So the next step is going to be to take your interfacing and you're gonna take your pieces. So I like to put them on the top one so I can see what I'm doing, and you wanna make sure your right sides are together. We're finished with this, so I'm just gonna move this to the side. The next step is you're gonna take your tape measure, you're gonna unpackage your binding tape, and you need 36 inches for each side. So the reason why I'm using the binding tape is that a lot of different people have said if they have to wear this mask over another mask, it makes it easy so they don't have 2 sets of elastic. But you could also choose to use elastic instead, and you would just have to do things a little bit differently. But we're gonna do it with the binding for this one. I think it makes it really easy to do. You don't have to fiddle with anything, and you can just be ready to go. So we're gonna go ahead and cut that. We're gonna go back in. And we're gonna cut it right in the center. Okay? Move your little scraps and your tape out to the side. And then we also will put this to the side right here. Okay, so now we are ready to start sewing. So now you're gonna wanna put a few pins in here just so it doesn't shift while you're sewing. If you're rushing or need to move quickly, 3 is plenty. And you wanna make sure you get it through all the layers. Okay, so now you are going to sew this at 1/4 inch. Put your presser foot down. Make sure you back stitch. I am sewing at a 2.5. You could also sew at a 3. Back stitch again. So here is where your iron comes into play, and this is why I love this little one, because it makes it really easy for you to press open your seam. So you want to press your seam to one side, so you're going to press it open. I like to cut threads as I go, but you could leave them there. You don't want to do it at the end. I just like to keep it neat. And then you're gonna take your piece of wire. So if you refer to the pattern, it has this piece here. So for this is gonna be where you insert the wire, so that way it can fit snugly on the nose of the person wearing it. I am using a paper clip, but you could use a twist tie for a bread bag, you could use a pipe cleaner. There's a lot of different things you could do, but you just wanna make sure it's some kind of wire. Ooh, that went fine. And you're gonna stick this right in the center, right in that seam. And then I close it back up, and you wanna push it right up to your stitching line. Okay, and if you need to put pins, you can. But the main thing is you want to keep this snug in here. So you're gonna feel for where the end of your piece is. You're gonna drop your needle down, and you're gonna stitch. And you're gonna do this at a 1/2 inch. And once again, you wanna feel where it is. It's kind of, you could put a guide by just going around that piece in there even. So if you put your presser foot right against there. Okay, a little further. And now we're gonna turn, and we're gonna come back towards the edge. So now that's snugly encased in there. This guy. Okay. Okay, so now you have it all put together in that part, and you're gonna want to turn it right sides together once again. Okay. The main thing you want here is for your two pieces of fabric to be even. So if your interfacing is a little, it'll be a little pulled because it's caught in that top piece, and that's okay. Main thing you want to get is that perfect here. Okay, so we're gonna put the 3 again. 1, 2, 3. Forward, back stitch, and forward. So you're gonna flip it right side out. And you're gonna take your iron again, and you're just gonna press this seam down here. And I just kind of pull it with my fingers, but you could stick scissors or a pencil or something in it if you wanna get it really sharp. Okay, so now that we have this all ready, we're gonna start making our pleats. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna take your pins, and on your pattern, we have marked where you can do these. So here's, it's all stitched together. So what you're gonna do now is you're gonna take your pins and you're gonna match them to the lines. So this is gonna be the center of your pleat. Your pleat is going to roughly be a 1/2 inch from mark to mark. So we're gonna go from here to here. And you can poke through if you need to. I try not to, so that way I can keep my pattern intact. And there are gonna be 3 pleats. So there's 1, 2. As you get the hang of it, you don't really need this anymore, but just so you can see it, we're gonna keep doing it this way. 2. Shift that up so you have a good view. And 3. So you can follow the guide by putting a pin to mark each point when you're folding it, but I'm just gonna go ahead and do it since I've made a whole bunch of these so you can see it quickly. So each one is going to be 1/2 inch, and you're gonna stick a pin right through the center. But if you were using the pattern, you're gonna go from pin to pin. So what you're gonna wanna do is make sure that it winds up pretty much kissing the one right next to it. So it'll be right touching right here. And then we're gonna go ahead and do the third one. I like to do one side first and then move to the other, so that way you can make sure that they're balanced and even. Okay, so we're gonna take this and go straight across. Once again, if you had your pins from the pattern, you could just follow along with those. And I know it's gonna be a 1/2 inch. And then we're gonna take the next one, 1/2 inch. And then finally, the third one, right up next to that one as well. Okay. If you need to check it and make sure you've got them, you just pull your pleats out nicely and make sure they lay flat, which they do. At this point, you can take your iron and give it a little press to keep them all nice and tight. And now it's time to do the binding. So what you're gonna do is take your binding tape, you're gonna put your ends together and find your center point. You're also gonna find your center point on your mask and you're gonna line them up. Here's my center point. And then you're just gonna pin this down. Once again, you don't need too many pins, it's just to keep it in place and stabilize it. Okay, so we are going to run this through the machine. So I put my presser foot right to the edge of the binding tape, and you're gonna want to stitch, back stitch, and stitch again. Back stitch again, and then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. And take it up. Okay. And that is how you make a mask. I'm Amanda Perna at the Amanda Perna. Thanks for watching and stay safe, everyone.